Emma Carter stepped off the shuttle at Viridian Station with her heart pounding in her chest. She clutched her small satchel close, filled with Earth books and a holotablet. The station lights glimmered on her bright blue uniform, the first human ever admitted to the Viridian Interstellar Academy. All around her, aliens moved in graceful arcs, some tall and slender, others round and softly glowing. Emma felt a mix of excitement and fear. She drew a slow breath, lifted her chin, and reminded herself that she belonged here. The tram to the academy glided silently along a glass track. Through wide windows, Emma watched floating gardens and domed cityscapes drift past like living paintings. She imagined walking through halls lined with stories from 1,000 worlds. She pictured herself studying alien languages, exploring strange sciences, and making friends beyond Earth's limits. A gentle vibration under her seat told her they had arrived. The doors slid open to reveal the grand entrance hall, where gleaming spires rose toward a sky of shifting violet light. Inside the hall, banners fluttered that read "Welcome Scholars." In many scripts, Emma paused, eyes wide, as a tall creature with silver skin and soft eyes approached. It bowed deeply and introduced itself as Registrar Vesher. His voice was low and kind as he handed her a schedule of classes and a small emblem of the academy. "We are honored to learn alongside you, Emma Carter of Earth," he said. Emma's throat felt tight with pride and nervousness. She managed a steady nod and a quiet thank you. In the crowded cafeteria, Emma found an empty seat between a group of chattering brown-feathered Silurians and a pair of glowing-eyed Ziltri twins. A friendly Siluran offered her a pear-sweet beverage that sparkled with tiny light motes. She sipped and smiled. Across the table sat a gentle-voiced girl with pale green skin and long braided hair tipped in gold. She wore a simple pin of the royal crest. Emma recognized her from the orientation video. She was Princess Aaliyah of Viridia. Gamma's breath caught. She wondered if the princess would speak to a human stranger. To Emma's relief, the princess smiled warmly and said, "Hello, I'm Aaliyah. You must be from Earth." Emma's cheeks warmed as she replied, "Yes, I'm Emma Carter. It's an honor to meet you." Aaliyah's eyes shone with curiosity. "I've read about Earth." "You are very far from home. How do you feel here?" Emma paused, gathering her courage. "I feel excited, but a little scared," she admitted. "I want to learn and make friends, but everything is so new." Aaliyah reached out and lightly touched Emma's hand. "I will help you," she promised softly. After lunch, Aaliyah led Emma to the Academy's hologarden, a tranquil dome filled with real plants from dozens of worlds. Soft violet ferns curved over glowing ponds, while tiny starbirds fluttered between blossoms. Emma inhaled the sweet floral air and felt calm. Aaliyah pointed to a pale blue vine that crept along a coral red wall. "This vine is from my home forest," the princess explained. "It is gentle and strong. It survives in many places." Emma smiled and placed her hand on the vine's smooth leaf. She felt a spark of hope. They walked among glowing pools, where holographic koi fish swam in shimmering patterns. Emma told Aaliyah about her life in a small town on Earth, her love of books, and her dream to build bridges between worlds. Aaliyah listened with bright eyes, sharing her own wish to learn. About Earth's music and stories, a warm breeze rose from hidden vents, carrying the soft sound of alien chimes. The two girls laughed as they tried to mimic the chime's strange melody, each note weaving a new thread in their friendship. As the afternoon light shifted to gentle pink, Emma felt a soft confidence blossom in her heart. She realized that, despite their different worlds and bodies, she and Aaliyah shared the same hope, to learn and to belong. Emma looked at the princess and saw not royalty, but a friend who understood her courage and fears. She breathed deeply, ready for the adventures ahead. In that moment, she knew her journey at the Viridian Interstellar Academy would change both their lives forever. Ask ChatGPT. The morning sun cast long shadows over the ancient Viridian ruins as Emma and a group of students gathered at the temple entrance. Excitement buzzed in the crisp air. Violet moss covered time-worn stones, and strange symbols glowed faintly on carved pillars. Emma felt her heart race at the thought of discovering history. Aaliyah walked beside her, fingers brushing the cool carvings. Together, they shared a quiet thrill, eager to learn the secrets hidden within these walls. The guide led them inside a wide chamber, its domed ceiling painted with scenes of old Viridian legends. Soft lights in the walls pulsed like gentle heartbeats. The students fanned out to study the murals, taking careful notes. Aaliyah paused by a mural of a great starship, her eyes bright with wonder. Emma moved closer, pointing to a tiny inscription. She explained how it looked like Earth's own ships, and Aaliyah's face lit with curiosity at the strange connection. Drawn by her royal spirit of discovery, Aaliyah stepped off the marked path and slipped through a narrow doorway etched with warning signs. Emma called after her, but Aaliyah only smiled and waved. "I want to see more," she said softly. Emma hesitated, then followed, trusting her friend's gentle voice. They entered a smaller room lit by a single glowing crystal. The air felt charged like the calm before a storm. Emma's hand hovered near her hollow tablet as she prepared to record everything. Suddenly, the glowing crystal flared with sharp brightness. A rush of energy surged through the chamber, and the narrow doorway sealed itself with a translucent force barrier. Leah gasped and pressed her palm against the barrier. Emma's eyes widened in alarm as she reached out to touch the flickering field. The sound of the barrier humming filled the air, drowning out the students' surprised cries. Outside, academy guards hurried toward the locked chamber. One guard tried to override the seal with a plasma key, but the device sparked and failed. Another called for more help. Emma saw their hesitation and felt a cold fear wash over her. Aaliyah's hand trembled against the barrier as she stepped back, eyes searching for any sign of rescue. Her royal composure slipped into quiet panic, and Emma's heart ached at the sight. Voices echoed in the corridor, some panicked students, some stern commands from the guards. Emma stood frozen for a moment, torn between fear and action. Her mind raced. The barrier was unlike anything she had seen, but she could not leave Aaliyah trapped. She thought of the princess's promise to help her on her first day and felt a surge of determination. Emma took a steadying breath, remembering the strength she found in their friendship. "Step aside," Emma said quietly to the guards, her voice steady despite her racing heart. They looked at her in surprise. "I can try to open it," she added, stepping closer. The lead guard frowned but nodded after a moment, giving her space. Emma knelt beside the barrier, studying its patterns of light. She touched the surface and felt a faint hum under her fingers. Panic threatened to overwhelm her, but she pushed it down, focusing on the soft energy pulse. Through the barrier, Aaliyah's green eyes shone with relief and worry. "Emma, please be careful," she called, softly. Her voice trembled, but her trust never wavered. Emma looked back and gave a small smile. "I will save you," she promised. The words felt strong in her chest. In that tense moment, Emma's courage grew. She would not let fear stop her from helping her friend. As alarms continued in the halls, Emma prepared to face the unknown power of the ancient seal, determined to free Aaliyah and prove the true spirit of humanity. Asked ChatGPT. Emma knelt before the shimmering barrier, her pulse echoing in her ears. She touched the smooth surface with one trembling finger and felt a soft vibration beneath her hand. Patterns of glowing symbols danced across the translucent field, shifting in and out of focus. Through the barrier came Aaliyah's anxious voice, small and hopeful. Emma closed her eyes and drew a steadying breath. She remembered their promise of friendship. She would solve this puzzle and free her friend. The hum grew louder, and Emma's heart pounded with both fear and fierce determination. Emma lifted her holotablet and switched it to scanning mode. The device projected a magnified view of the symbols in midair, tracing each curve with lines of pale green light. She noticed that the glyphs repeated in patterns like a code. Each symbol changed color in time with the barrier's pulse. Emma recalled her Earth puzzles codes that shifted in simple cycles. A spark of insight lit in her mind. Maybe she could match the cycle and unlock the seal. Her breath caught as she set the tablet down to work. She reviewed the shapes, grouping them by form and brightness. Circle-shaped glyphs appeared every third beat, while diamond signs followed to short pulses. Emma murmured the pattern softly, feeling it in her bones. She sketched a quick chart on the tablet, labeling each symbol with numbers she hoped would decode the sequence. Around her, the barrier's glow cast long shadows. Aaliyah's voice through the field said, "I believe in you." Emma's eyes shone with resolve as she tapped the tablet's virtual pen. Emma reached into her satchel and pulled out a small toolkit she had brought from Earth. It contained wires, a mini power converter, and a crystal lens from an old project. She remembered her workshop at home, where she tinkered with simple gadgets. With careful hands, she stripped a fine wire and attached it to the lens. She tapped the tablet's power port and connected the converter. The device hummed softly. In her palm, Emma smiled at its gentle glow and held the makeshift tool to the barrier. The barrier reacted, its light flickering around Emma's device. She adjusted the lens angle and held the wire against a gap in the field's pattern. The tablet's readout showed energy spikes matching her chart predictions. Emma's heart leaped. She whispered to the barrier, "Open now." Soft click echoed in the chamber as the glyphs dimmed. The field's hum slowed to a gentle vibration. On the tablet's display, Emma saw the barrier's energy signature drop. She dared to hope that her plan was working. Aaliyah's voice echoed with relief. "Emma, it's changing." Warmth flooded Emma's cheeks. Waited, the glyphs shifted one final time and then faded into nothing. The translucent barrier dissolved like mist in the morning sun. Emma quickly set her tool aside and reached through the empty space. Aaliyah stepped forward, her eyes bright with tears. Emma grasped her friend's hand and helped her out. Their hands clasped tightly, faces full of quiet triumph. Other students and guards hurried into the chamber, eyes wide at the open passage. But there was no alarm in Aaliyah's smile or pride in Emma's posture. The lead guard bowed respectfully and said, "Well done, Emma Carter of Earth." Aaliyah embraced Emma, her royal robes rustling softly. Emma's chest swelled with happiness. She felt respect in every glance. She knew she had proven herself with her mind, not force. The two friends turned toward the corridor, ready to face whatever came next together as they walked back through the ancient halls. Emma and Aaliyah shared a quiet laugh. The carvings on the walls seemed to glow brighter than before. Emma felt a deep confidence growing inside her. She thought of Earth and her small workshop, and of the promise she made to herself that she could make a difference. Aaliyah squeezed her hand and whispered, "You saved me." Emma smiled and replied, "We saved each other." Their bond felt unbreakable. In that moment, Emma understood the true spirit of humanity: kindness, courage, and friendship across the stars. Emma and Aaliyah stepped into a narrow corridor. The walls glowed soft green with a slow, pulsing light. Old vines curled around broken stones, and a faint hum echoed through the tunnel. Dust drifted in thin beams of light that fell from cracks. In the ceiling, Emma held her small decoding device close, its gentle glow matching the wall's pulse. Aaliyah's fingers trembled as she brushed a cool leaf away. Emma paused and placed a calm hand on Aaliyah's arm. "We will find our way out," she said in a steady voice. Aaliyah looked at Emma's sure face and nodded. Together, they moved forward on quiet feet, the hum growing fainter behind them. The floor underfoot was uneven, marked by loose tiles and scattered rubble. Emma bent at the waist and cleared a safe path, lifting bright fragments of carved stone aside. Aaliyah watched in silent awe. Emma's steady movements and clear directions brought a warm sense of trust. When they reached a patch of slick moss, Emma switched on a tiny light on her tablet and pointed to each firm stepping stone. Aaliyah followed one careful foot at a time, her trust in Emma stronger than any fear. The corridor grew narrower, and Emma's calm voice guided them past a low-hanging root and through a narrow arch. A soft smile passed between them as they pressed on. They came face to face with a fallen pillar that blocked the way. Its ancient carvings glowed faintly, etched in spirals and star symbols. Aaliyah reached out and ran her hand along the glyphs, curiosity shining in her green eyes. She tried to lift the stone, but it would not budge. Emma knelt and traced the pillar's edge with her fingertips. She pressed her palm to the cool surface and took a deep breath. Then she leaned in and pushed with all her strength. Ah! The pillar shifted on its bed of moss and stone. Dust motes swirled in the beam of Emma's light. With a final heave, the pillar tilted just enough for them to crawl beneath. Aaliyah went first, then Emma, who offered her hand and helped the princess rise. The stone settled back with a soft rumble, but the path stayed clear. Beyond the pillar, a wide staircase curved downward in graceful arcs. Each step was carved from pale crystal that caught the device's glow and sent dancing reflections across the walls. Emma climbed first, counting each step in a soft voice. 1, 2, 3. Aaliyah followed, her golden braids swaying behind her. Emma watched her closely, pointing out spots where small stones lay loose. When Aaliyah's foot slipped on a damp patch, Emma was there to steady her with a gentle grip. "I am here," Emma whispered as they descended. Aaliyah looked up at the soft, glowing ceiling and found new courage in Emma's calm gaze. Together they reached the base of the stairs, their hearts light with relief. When they stepped back into open air, the world seemed brand new. A cool breeze carried the scent of wild lavender and ozone. Broken archways framed a sky streaked with violet and gold as the sun dipped low. Ancient ferns and bioluminescent flowers glowed at their feet. For a long moment, Emma and Aaliyah simply stood and breathed, listening to distant bird calls and feeling the soft earth under their boots. Leia reached for Emma's hand and squeezed it, her eyes bright with warmth. "You guided me," she said softly. Emma shook her head and smiled. "We guided each other," she replied. In the fading light, a group of Academy guards hurried toward them, concern on their faces. When they saw the princess safe, they bowed deeply to Emma. Aaliyah straightened and offered Emma a graceful nod of gratitude. As they walked back along a narrow path toward the tram station, Emma held her device at her side, its glow now gentle and steady. The ruins stood silent behind them, their secrets once again at rest. Emma felt a quiet pride in her heart. She looked at Aaliyah and saw not only a princess, but a true friend. Their bond, forged in ancient halls, would guide them through every challenge to come. The soft hum of the tram faded as it pulled into the Academy's central hub. Alarms blared red lights across tall windows and polished floors. Emma's heart pounded at the sudden warning. She gripped Aaliyah's hand as they stepped onto the busy platform. Students and staff rushed past them, voices echoing in panic. Violet warning lights flashed from security consoles. Emma took a steady breath and whispered, "We need to get to the council chamber." Leia nodded, though fear shone in her green eyes. Together, they turned and ran toward the main corridor, determined to warn the council of the growing energy surge. As they rounded the first corner, they found the door to the east wing sealed by a digital lock. The panel glowed with strange, alien script. Students hovered nearby, confused. Emma knelt and placed her decoding device against the panel. She watched patterns shift in pale green light. Her fingers flew over the holotablet keyboard as she translated symbols into code. With a soft click, the lock disengaged. The heavy door slid open to reveal a glowing hallway. Leah exhaled, relief and pride in her voice. "You did it." Emma smiled and said, "Let's keep moving." The East Wing hallway was dim, lit only by emergency lanterns that cast long shadows. Metal vines curled around the walls. Emma led the way, the device's light guiding their path. A patrol of Academy guards marched down the corridor. Aaliyah pressed close against the wall, hiding behind a pillar. Emma dropped low and whispered, "Stay quiet." The guards passed without noticing them. Akuna counted their steps 5, 6, then signaled to Aaliyah. They slipped through a side door leading to the council wing. The council wing entrance loomed before them, tall doors of silver and violet. The doors bore the royal crest of Viridia and a complex locking glyph. Emma studied the design, recalling how the barrier worked. She set her tool against the glyphs and watched as wires glowed. Numbers danced on her holoscreen while soft hums rang in her ears. Aaliyah watched, hope and anxiety mixing in her eyes. With a quiet beep, the crest's light changed to green. The doors opened inward on sliding hinges. Emma nodded at Aaliyah. "We're in." Inside, the council chamber was vast and oval, with rows of curved benches rising to a center dais. Council members in flowing robes turned at their entrance. Aaliyah stepped forward and called out, "Princess Aaliyah, herewith. Emma Carter from Earth." Silence fell, then shocked murmurs. Emma took a steady step and spoke. The energy surge from the ruins is spreading fast. "We must act now," her clear voice echoed. Lakota Council leader rose, eyes wide, and asked for details. Emma shared what she saw and how she freed Aaliyah. The chamber buzzed with urgent discussion. After her explanation, the council leader bowed deeply to Emma. "Your courage and skill have saved more than our princess. You may have saved the academy." Tears of relief shone in Aaliyah's eyes as she joined her family on the dais. The other members offered Emma's seats of honor beside them. Emma's cheeks warmed as she shook hands with each counselor. A warm light filled the room as Aaliyah's father, the High Regent, stepped forward and said, "On behalf of Viridia, we thank you, Emma Carter." Emma felt her heart swell with pride and belonging. After the council meeting, Aaliyah led Emma through grand hallways back to the palace gardens. Soft music drifted from unseen speakers. Petals from violet trees fell like rain. Aaliyah turned to Emma and said, "My family would be honored if you would join us as a guest in the palace." Emma felt joy and disbelief. She bowed her head and smiled. "It would be my honor." As they walked beneath glowing arches, Emma saw she was not just a student, but a bridge between worlds. In that moment, hope and friendship bloomed across the galaxy. That night, Emma lay in her dormitory bed, the moonlight filtering through a star map window. She thought of Aaliyah's trust and the council's praise. She remembered the ruins' glowing corridors and the hum of the ancient barrier. A smile curved on her lips as she touched the small emblem of Viridia pinned to her uniform. This emblem was more than a badge, it was a promise of friendship. Emma closed her eyes, feeling warmth in her heart. She dreamed of new adventures. With Aaliyah by her side, ready to share Earth's kindness with the stars. The morning sun filtered through the tall crystal windows of the Viridian Palace as Emma followed Aaliyah into the royal gardens. Soft petals floated on a gentle breeze, and fountains sang with fresh water. Emma felt her heart lift at the bright colors and gentle sounds. She wore a simple gown the palace tailor made, its pale blue matching her eyes. Aaliyah walked beside her, her hand resting lightly on Emma's arm. Together they moved among lavender hedges and glowing pools, sharing quiet smiles before the day's formal events began. Inside the grand dining hall, Aaliyah's family gathered around a long table carved from white marble. Emma sat beside the High Regent, Aaliyah's father, who greeted her with a warm nod. Servers brought dishes of sweet fruit and soft bread infused with starlight dust. Emma hesitated, then took a small piece and tasted its bright flavor. She closed her eyes in delight. The regent asked gently about her home on Earth, and Emma spoke of green fields, busy cities, and the smell of rain. The family listened with kind smiles after breakfast. Emma stood before Aaliyah's mother, the regentess, in the Hall of Traditions. Walls were lined with paintings of past alliances and gifts from many worlds. Aaliyah's mother presented Emma with a delicate crown of woven silver leaves, a mark of welcome and respect. Emma felt tears in her eyes at the honor. She bowed her head and accepted the crown with both hands. Leia squeezed her shoulder and whispered, "You earned this." Emma straightened and met her friend's bright gaze, her heart full of gratitude. The palace chamber filled with guests from across the academy and high courts of distant systems. Aaliyah led Emma to a polished dais, where the council had gathered again. Regal figures in flowing robes watched as Emma spoke softly about her hope for unity between Earth and Viridia. Her words were simple but true, and she spoke from the heart. Silence fell, then gentle applause rose like wind among flowers. Emma glanced at Aaliyah, who beamed with pride. In that moment, Emma knew she had left a mark on this world. After the ceremony, Aaliyah and Emma walked through the palace library, its shelves heavy with books and hollow scrolls. Aaliyah showed Emma her favorite volume, a record of Earth's first explorers. Emma pointed to a picture of tall trees and wide seas and told Aaliyah how she longed to see them again. Aaliyah traced the image with her finger and said, "One day, we will visit Earth together." Emma's chest swelled with joy at the promise. The quiet glow of hali lamps made the library feel like a dream. Later, Emma tripped over a low step in the tiled corridor and stumbled into a guard. The guard bowed deeply, but Emma's cheeks burned with shame. Before she could apologize, Aaliyah's mother appeared and laid a gentle hand on her shoulder. She spoke softly in the old Viridian tongue, then smiled and said something in common, galactic speech. Emma relaxed and laughed at her own clumsiness. Aaliyah squeezed her hand. Emma realized that here, mistakes could be met with kindness. She felt even more at home. As twilight fell, Emma and Aaliyah climbed a spiral staircase to the highest balcony. The sky above glowed violet and gold, with distant stars like scattered gems. Emma leaned on the stone railing and gazed at the horizon. Aaliyah stood close, her braid catching the last light. They spoke of Earth's music and Viridia's art, of hopes and adventures yet to come. Emma rested her head on Aaliyah's shoulder. She felt peace and excitement blend in her chest, and she knew this friendship would guide her through anything. The palace bells chimed softly, calling them back inside. Emma smoothed her gown and took a final look at the stars. She thought of her journey from Earth of fear turned to courage, and of the bond she shared with Aaliyah. Hand in hand, they walked back through glowing corridors toward the palace hall, ready for tomorrow's lessons and laughter. Emma's heart was full of hope. Across the galaxy, two worlds had come closer, and she knew their story was only just beginning. The next morning, golden lights spilled across the palace courtyard as Emma walked beside Aaliyah toward the family hall. Gentle fountains bubbled along their path, and soft music rose from hidden crystals. Emma felt a mix of excitement and gratitude. She wore the silver leaf crown and a simple gown woven from moon-thread silk. Leah's hand rested on her back in a friendly gesture. Together, they approached the grand doors where Aaliyah's family waited to greet them again. Emma's heart thrummed with joy as she prepared for the final part of her journey at Viridia's heart. Inside the family hall, long tables were set with dishes from many worlds. Glowing fruits and fragrant breads lined the table alongside delicate teas that steamed in crystal cups. Aaliyah's younger siblings rushed in first, their laughter echoing through the hall, encircled Emma, curious about her Earth customs. Emma knelt to their level and showed them a simple game she learned on Earth. She taught them to make paper birds from thin metallic sheets borrowed from palace supplies. Soon the children's fingers bent and folded the glimmering sheets into flying shapes that danced on the air. Laughter and bright chatter filled the room. When the children finished, Aaliyah's father, the High Regent, stood. He held a small wooden box carved with Earth symbols. "Emma Carter," he said in a calm voice, "you have shown bravery, kindness, and wisdom. Today, we welcome you not only as a scholar, but as a member of our family." He opened the box to reveal a delicate pendant, a tiny glass orb holding a real moon petal from an earth flower, preserved in starlight. He placed the pendant around Emma's neck. Tears welled in Emma's eyes as she felt the cool orb against her skin. The regentess stepped forward and spoke softly. In Viridian tradition, this gift marks a bond unbroken by distance or time. She touched Emma's shoulder and smiled warmly. Emma bowed her head in respect and whispered, "Thank you." Her voice shook with emotion. Aaliyah reached for Emma's hand and they shared a look of deep trust. Around the hall, nobles and guests leaned forward with gentle applause. The music rose softly, blending with the rustle of silken robes and the murmur of happy voices. After the ceremony, Emma and Aaliyah walked through the palace gardens again, now filled with morning dew. Petals glowed with fresh drops of light and crystal pathways gleamed. Emma touched a silver leaf and felt its smooth warmth. She thought of the first day she arrived, uncertain and afraid, and of every moment since when her heart grew stronger. Leah squeezed her hand and said, "You belong here." Emma smiled, her eyes bright. "And you belong on Earth," she replied, remembering the promise to visit each other's worlds as the sun climbed higher. Time came for Emma to return to her class schedule at the academy. She and Aaliyah paused by the tram station where the schedules hummed quietly. Emma hugged Aaliyah tightly. "Thank you for showing me your world," she said. Aaliyah pressed the moon petal pendant when she spoke, "and thank you for bringing yours." They stepped onto the tram together, laughter and hope in their voices as they planned new studies and projects. The tram doors closed, carrying them toward another day of friendship and discovery. That evening, Emma lay in her dormitory bed and gazed at the small pendant glowing softly in the moonlight. She thought of Viridia's gardens, the ancient ruins, and the family who now called her one of their own. Her heart swelled with pride and love. Across the stars, a human student had saved an alien princess and, in doing so, had opened a door for all of humanity. Emma smiled as she closed her eyes, dreaming of the many adventures still waiting among the glowing spires of Viridia and the green fields of Earth.